guys? So today I'm back at it again with another top 10 list. This list is dedicated to tricks that are impromptu, basically meaning that these are tricks you can pull out anytime, anywhere, with anybody's borrowed and shuffled deck of cards. These are hand-picked tricks from my channel that I truly believe are some of the best and strongest, most hard-hitting card tricks that you can do with anybody's borrowed deck of cards. And as always, I will leave every single link to all of these tricks in the description box below. So if you're curious and want to learn any of these tricks in full detail, since I'll just be doing an overview in this video, then by all means, please go ahead and click the links in the description and check out the full tutorial for all of these tricks. So this list is in no particular order. Let's go ahead and start with number 1. So number 1, let's just start off with a classic, the ambitious card routine. The classic effect where you have a card selected, let's say the 5 of diamonds, the spectator puts it in the middle of the deck just like this, and with the snap of the fingers, the card jumps to the top. This is a staple in card magic and is very often a trick that I will pull out when people ask me to show them a trick. This is like definitely one of my go-tos. The best part about this trick is that it's super simple to do, but you can also be really creative with the trick because there's so many different routes you can take with the different phases and the different ideas. You can have the card go to your mouth, you can have the card go to your pocket, you can have the card just keep jumping up to the top, you can have the whole deck jump inside of the box, you can have the card jump inside the box. There's so many different phases that you can do. I think I've come to the point where I've recognized a couple of my favorite phases and I've put those together to create my own personal ambitious card routine. But the cool part about the ambitious card routine is that everyone's version is unique to them. So yeah, I couldn't leave this list without mentioning the ambitious card routine. All right, so the next trick on this list is a thought of card to pocket. This is a really, really cool effect where the only preparation you'll have to do is you just find any pair of cards, like for example, the 2 red 6s, and you put one on top, one on the bottom. You can do this from anybody's borrowed and shuffled deck of cards in literally 2 seconds. Once you do that, you're ready to perform the trick, and the trick looks something like this, where you have the spectator take a chunk of cards, and then they are able to think of literally any one of these cards. They won't tell you what it is. And then you will hand the packet over to the spectator and ask them to shuffle it as much as they want. And then what you will do is have the spectator fan the cards towards you like this so that you can see all the cards, but you will just basically try to read their mind and pull out the exact card that they're thinking of. So you take this card and you put it inside of your pocket, and then you have the spectator name their card. They will go through every single one of these cards and confirm that their thought of card is not here, even though they were holding these the entire time. And then you reach into your pocket and you pull out the exact card they were thinking of. Super awesome trick. It gets great reactions. It genuinely seems impossible because it really is a thought of card. They don't say it out loud. They don't tell it to anyone. They don't even pull it out of the pile. They literally just think of a card that they see. And yeah, it's actually a pretty simple trick to accomplish. The method is not too difficult. Definitely one of my all-time favorites. All right, so the next trick on this list is a bit of a newer one that I've added on my channel, but it's one that I will definitely start adding into my repertoire from now on. The thought of card to sandwich. So basically, if you have 2 jokers like this, you explain the basic plot of the sandwich idea to the spectators, and you explain that most versions of the trick use sleight of hand, but this version that we're going to do today uses no sleight of hand. As you can see, we have the 2 jokers in the middle of the deck, and I'm just going to have you think of any card. Hopefully that card will appear in between the jokers with no sleight of hand. I won't even touch the deck. You have the spectator use their imagination, and they pick red or black, they pick the suit, they pick number picture, they pick the value, and then eventually they settle on a card, let's say the King of Hearts. And then you can have the spectator square up the deck themselves. You don't even have to touch anything. You snap your fingers, you spread the cards out once more, and they see that there is now 1 card in between, and it is none other than their thought of card. This trick gets insane reactions because it really is exactly as you say. You don't touch the cards for the entire trick. Once the cards are spread on the table, everything is already done. The spectator seems like they have a completely free choice to choose any card. It feels very, very fair, very natural. There is a bit of mental calculation that comes along with this trick. I'll just leave that as a disclaimer. But yeah, really, really love this trick. You definitely got to try it out if you haven't already. All right, this next trick is definitely one of my all-time favorites. I like to call it impulse imagination. Let's say the spectator peeks at any card. Let's use the Jack of Diamonds in this case. That card will be shuffled in the middle of the deck, and the spectator can hold the cards. The magician was not looking whatsoever. You're going to go through and pull out the 4 aces just like this, making sure I have all 4 in the deck right over here. So yeah, right over here, I have the ace of diamonds, the ace of hearts, the ace of clubs, and the ace of spades. So we'll take the 4 aces just like this, and I'm actually going to leave them on the table. We'll take all 4 aces and leave them right here just like this, and we'll have the spectator just point to any one, whichever one they think matches the suit of their card. So think of the suit of their card. In this case, it was diamonds. Let's say they touch this one. So since they touch this one, they were using their impulse to feel that this card was a diamond. And now I asked them to wave the diamond over the deck. And just like that, one card should turn over, and then I take a look and I ask them if it was the Jack of Diamonds. They say yes, and then I say, we'll take this one step further. If we just use our imagination, we can make the impossible happen. And now I have the Ace of Diamonds, and here the entire time is your card, impossibly. I love this trick so much. I think it's so much fun to perform, and the reactions I get are just incredible. It has like 3 different moments of revelation. First, the suit of the card, then the card turning over, and then the cards impossibly switch. So yeah, it's just a great little routine in general, and I love performing this one. All right, so the next trick on this list, I like to call Nathan's Lie Speller. This is a really cool trick that I came up with many years ago, but it's a really cool version of a spelling card trick where essentially you will pull out a secret prediction ahead of time, but you won't show the spectator what the card is. So let's say we pull out this card right over here, and then I'll have the spectator choose any card. Let's say they choose this one, the 8 of clubs right over here. We can go ahead and shuffle that card in the middle of the deck. And as I'm shuffling this card into the deck, I will invite the spectator to think of a random card that is not their selection. And then hopefully we're going to use that random card to try to find the card that they actually selected. So they can truly name any random card of their choice. Let's say they do the 3 of hearts. So we're going to spell THREEOFHEARTS. And just like that, we get the card that they actually selected. And I mentioned that they really could have genuinely thought of any card in order to find their selection here. And the card that they just named was a completely random choice. However, I did take this card from the very beginning of the trick and I put it right here. As you can see, it is the 3 of hearts. This trick gets amazing reactions because it's just a really cool, impossible prediction effect. And yeah, I'm pretty proud of this one if I do say so myself. I think it's a really fun trick to do. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy it. So the next trick on this list is one of my go-to openers, which means this is like the first trick that I'll ever show somebody. And this is what really gets them excited about card tricks. So I tell them that we're going to take the Ace of Spades out of the deck, or we can also use a Joker too. It doesn't really matter. But now the spectator can choose any card out of the deck. Let's say we have the 10 of Spades right over here. So obviously just remember that card the best you can. We'll go ahead and shuffle it in the middle. And then I tell the spectator to hold out their hand. I'll do a little top change like this, put the card in their hand, and now the card will magically change into their card. And then right as they're reacting, I'll do another top change and say, actually, the effect doesn't last forever because if you look away for just a moment, now the card goes back to the Ace of Spades. At this point, I'm still holding the deck, but I'll give this card to them and then I'll do a turnover pass in order to cut that card in the middle of the deck and say, look, your card was actually in the middle of the deck the entire time. This is a really shocking trick because people just don't expect the card to change so instantly, especially in their own hands. But yeah, definitely practice your top change. If you're not good at it, then you won't be able to pull this off. So definitely be sure you have that down before you try this trick. All right, so the next trick is easily one of my favorite tricks of all time. I like to call this one how to read minds. So essentially you give the spectator half the deck and you have your own half of the deck, and you will basically be alternating the role of magician and spectator. So the spectator first will select a card from your pile, they'll put it back and then shuffle it in the middle. And then you will do the same with their pile. So the spectator will have you, the magician, select a card for you to only see, and then you will put it back in the middle of the deck and shuffle it. So once the cards have been shuffled, we'll reverse the roles again and have them remember the card that they just selected, and I will basically go through and try to read their mind and pull out the card that they picked. And then we're going to reverse the roles one more time so that they can be the magician, because remember, I just picked a card out of here. They have a completely free choice to take any card that they think is mine and put it on top of the pile. And now we will exchange piles. So at this point, we both name our cards before the cards are turned over, and then both of our cards are actually correct. This trick is incredible because it lets the spectator feel like they were in on the magic and they were actually part of it. And it just feels so cool to like be the magician for a minute, because that's what this trick allows them to do. And the smiles that I put on people's faces when I show them this trick are just unreal. You genuinely have to see it to believe it. So yeah, definitely give this one a try. All right, the next trick on this list is another sandwich trick, and this is a trick that was created by Felix Bodden, and he actually performed this on Penn and Teller Fool Us. So you can take any card out of the deck. The spectator chooses the King of Diamonds in this case, and then you can lose that card somewhere in the middle of the deck. And then you will take the jokers, place one near the top and one near the bottom of the deck. Just like this, you can clearly see they are on opposite ends of the deck. You explain to the spectator that the jokers are going to try to travel from the ends of the deck a bit closer to the middle. So you have the spectator hold out their hand and place the deck in their hands, and then you snap and spread the cards out, and you'll see that the jokers actually get a little bit closer in the middle. And then you ask them to estimate roughly how many cards are in between these jokers. They would say maybe like 6 or 7 or so. And then you say, we'll do this one more time. Hopefully they'll get even closer to finding just one single card and one card only. And this should be their card, the king of diamonds. This is a really cool version of the sandwich trick because it's really visual and you can really feel and see those jokers getting closer and closer until the final card. And it's a great final image to leave with the spectators. All right, so the next trick on this list is a classic. I love doing this trick for people because they really don't expect it at all, but it's called the invisible palm. Basically, you pull 4 cards out of the deck and you tell the spectators that you have the ability to take a card in your palm, just like this, but it's actually invisible. It won't be visible though until I touch the table, and as you can see, I've actually placed that card down right there. And yeah, you basically just do this with a couple more phases. It ends with you taking a card from the deck, they see it leave the deck, and they actually see the same card appear over here, even though your hand is completely empty. It looks impossible, it feels impossible. People love this trick so much. All right, so the last trick on this list, definitely one of my favorites of all time. It's the cards to pocket routine. So this trick basically looks like this, where you have the spectator deal 10 cards into your hand, and then you ask the spectator to take these cards and just place them somewhere in their pocket so that you can't touch them. And then you're gonna have another spectator call out stop at any card, let's say right over here. So we have a 3 in this case. We're just gonna look at the value, and then you say, since we chose a 3, I will try to make 3 cards jump over to those cards in your pocket. So you had 10 originally, but let's count now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and then possibly there will be 3 more cards added. You can continue this trick with another phase where you can add even more cards. You can honestly keep going and do as many phases as you like. I usually just do 2 phases before people get a little suspicious, but it's an incredibly impossible looking effect because the cards truly are nowhere in your reach. You can have someone leave the room and the trick will still work. And this is one of those tricks that just doesn't seem like it can be possible with a normal deck of cards, but it just is. So anyways, guys, that is going to finish off the top 10 impromptu card trick list. I hope you guys really consider checking out all these tricks if you haven't already. I'll leave links for every single one of these videos in the description box below. But yeah, if you think there's a trick that I've left out, or if there's a trick that you personally like to perform a lot that's impromptu, definitely leave it in the comments below so that you can let me know, and also let other people know, because I'd love to have people share their ideas and their creativity with each other. Yeah, let's just have an open discussion about your favorite impromptu card tricks. So yeah, that's it, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.